Hi, this is Vialk Oy, and welcome to another Vialk Oy Consulting webinar titled How to Create Your College Action Plan in 7 Steps. A few weeks ago, I did a webinar, or a survey, sorry, where I found what people were most concerned about when it came to college, and this is one of the concerns. So again, this is how to create your college action plan in 7 steps. When I did the survey, the results were a bit surprising. First, these were the top 3 concerns that people had in regards to college: being able to afford it, getting into the right college, and maintaining familial or cultural ties, meaning not losing touch with one's family or one's identity. There are others, such as being able to find a job after graduation or concerns for students with special needs, but by and large, these were the 3 major issues. When we think about these 3 issues, affordability, being admitted, and maintaining ties, just as the others, they are all intertwined and actually dependent on the school being the right fit. Fit is critical regardless of what one is trying to do after graduation, how much money one has to spend on college, or any other aspect of college-going life. I mentioned that I was a bit surprised, and with the results from the survey, and it was because that regardless of what anyone said or who they were, if they were a college student or a parent or a teacher, they all felt that they had no recourse, that regardless of what they did or tried, their issues would never be solved, and that the either somehow it would work out by somebody just happening to give them that advice, or it just wouldn't work out and their student wouldn't go to college. That was especially troubling, I felt, because people felt that they basically had no control over how they go to college. Here's the thing with fit. Similar to when I'm trying to fit into a dress, ultimately I'm going to have to make the decision to make changes, and while I should seek help, how something fits is entirely up to me. But college, unlike that dress, is something you have to do, so it really shouldn't be left up to chance. The last thing that I want you to know is that just like that dress, the more time I give myself to fit into it, the more likely I will have success, especially with the items that require a change of mindset. So again, the focus of this webinar are those 3 items that I talked about: affordability, getting in, maintaining those ties. But there also has to be a certain key understandings that we go into this with. The first one is no one can truly afford college. We might think that some people have $30,000 to $200,000 just lying around, but as most financial counselors will tell you, unless you have no debt and you've saved up enough for the hopeful unlikelihood that you lose your job, you really shouldn't be taking on additional debt. So there's very few people in this country who have that ability, that actually have no debt and can therefore take on any amount of debt. The second thing we have to understand is that regardless of who the student is, he or she had to fill out the exact same application that every student has to fill out. I'm not going to argue that people have the exact same chances. We certainly know that's not true. But at the end of the day, everybody has to fill out the same application, write the same essays, and fill out the same financial forms. And lastly, and most importantly, almost every student who is in college right now has had some kind of enrichment course or college counseling or test prep course or financial counseling outside what was offered at the middle and high school. What we're seeing now is that even if it's offered within the high school, it's at a level equal to those that are offered outside the high school. You have different programs that offer college access training or programs, of which I've worked for quite a few. But every single student who is in college right now has had some kind of help outside of what was already available. And with that, I realize I'm preaching to the choir a little bit because you're here seeking that same help. And so with that, the very first step is your savings plan.